Well, good day to all of our awesome audience. Listen, I want to do this. You may be watching this at our webinar replay site, or you may be watching this on YouTube or some type of social media. This is the Funnel Doc here, and obviously we like to start off all of our trainings with something nice and picturesque to get you dreaming again, taking those dreams off the shelf and blowing off the dust, okay? We're in Mexico for our dream video here today. And what we're going to do real quickly is there was a communication that went to those that are in the U.S. And I want to go over that communication. I think it's huge. I think it's absolutely huge. We've been asking the question, is THW crap or is it gold? And more, it's looking like we're moving away from the crap and we're moving closer to like the sunshine there, like the sunset there. Looks like we're moving closer to the gold. So I want to just cover that communication. Even if you're not in the U.S., I think it's important for you to see what was sent to those that are in the U.S., okay? And so what they sent out, they said, good news. In our first email sent out yesterday, we had 200 undeliverables out of 40,000 in the U.S. So apparently what they did is they did a test campaign to email only those that were registered out of the U.S. I'm assuming they're looking at their IP addresses. And there's 40,000 or so. And only 200 emails came back as undeliverable. What does that mean? That means that people were entering in proper data. They weren't giving dummy email addresses when they were registering. Give me a moment. I feel a cough coming. So what that is basically telling them is that those in the U.S. are serious. Now, I will say this. At last sight, there were over 300,000 registrants when I looked at the last counter. For only 40,000 or so of those to be in the U.S., those of you in the U.S., I mean, you've got something amazing because your economy's screwed up. Okay. You've got so many people looking, not just marketers. I mean, just people looking to generate additional revenue. And so one of the things I want to make sure that we make clear to our audience is, when you see the numbers of 300,000 folks that have registered in a little, about 2 weeks time or what have you, that might be a little daunting for you. But remember, this is not just another network marketing thingy. All right. This is really transcending network marketing because we're going into the larger advertising space, not just marketers, not just network marketers, pitching their deals to each other in an advertising revenue share type thing. No. This is big business. And we talked a lot about this on our latest webinar. If you were not on our latest webinar, I'll tell you how to make sure you don't miss any of our webinars to our audience. And that our audience doesn't just mean people that I personally enrolled or people that are in my enrollment tree. Our audience is anyone that finds value in our presentations, our trainings, our way of our perspective, what have you. So if you find value, even if you're not on our team, you feel free to follow what we're doing. Okay. All right. So here's what they said. They said, earlier on, they talked about will no longer be dependent on email to communicate with its IVs, international viewers. They've already installed a message center in the back office. Hopefully, you've had a chance to take a look at that to begin communicating with new and old IVs. Funny to say old since no one is more than 2 weeks old as of today. Okay, what to expect on July the 4th. This is what I think is very important, okay? You will be directed to an initial demographic survey to help THW advertising decide what type of content to start sending you in the future. Now, this answers some questions. I've seen some naysayers out there on the internet, on YouTube, saying, "Hey, they say you got to be 21, you've got to have a high school diploma." And they talked about demographics, and they didn't ask me for any of those demographics. Well, looks like we're going to be asked for those demographics on July the 4th. Okay, and this makes sense so that they're putting the promotional content in the faces of a target audience, a target market. Now, they talked about earlier that, somebody who's the example that I'm about to use might be off a little bit, but you'll get the principle behind it. An 80-year-old man is not going to want to have ads of buying female sneakers, as an example. Okay, that was horrible. I jumbled that one, but I think you get the point. Okay. All right. Now, this is important. You want to make sure that folks get this. So feel free to distribute this particular video. Okay. They say that this will give THW Global the true number of how many serious IVs are in the system. Now, this is important. It says only IVs, international viewers, who fill out the 10-question survey will have access to watching content. So you want to be on the lookout July 4th. You want to be on the lookout for that survey. You want to fill out that survey because only those that fill out the survey are going to be able to start watching content, along with access to more information and tools in their THW Global back office. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've been asking our audience, is it crap? Is it gold? Looks like we're getting very close to being able to answer that question. Then it says THW Advertising already, this is huge, has in excess of 100 clients who are committing to spending up to $1 million or more to advertise to THW Global IVs to get their opinions on their products and services. Now, in excess of 100 clients, not all of them necessarily are doing $1 million, but if you just did that, if you just did those numbers and said 100 clients times $1 million, that could be upwards of up to $100 million that's already committed. Now, whatever that number is, whether it's 100 million or 80 million or 72 million or what have you, that right there is huge. I mean, because right now, not one person has viewed the first of anything. If they've already secured 100 clients that are willing to spend as much as $1 million, ladies and gentlemen, that's absolutely huge. And they say this is just the beginning. The goal is to go into 2017 with over 10 million active IVs. If you were not on our webinar on Tuesday, June the 28th, you definitely want to make sure that you come to our webinar. If you can't make it because of what part of the world you may be in, I'll share with you how to get on that list so that you can get our recorded webinars. You see, what has started to change for me is I've started to take off my lenses, my glasses, where I was looking at THW from a network marketing perspective, because this is going to transcend network marketing. And I started looking at her from an advertising perspective, where we see YouTube's worth $70 billion, where we see Facebook did $5.2 billion in revenue in the first quarter of this year. Think that through. $5.2 billion from ads. And what do they have? They've got a free model. THW has a free model. Okay. They've got a free model. They have a whole bunch of users, and now they serve ads to those users based on demographic. That's why Facebook, asks you your name and where you're from and how old you are. And then when you click those likes and what have you, that's basically an algorithm that's telling Facebook what you like, so they know what ads to serve in your news feed, on the right-hand side, so on and so forth. So when I started looking at THW from an advertising perspective and not just as a network marketer, it completely changed how I see THW. Now, we still have to see if they're going to execute and all that other good stuff, where I think it's still too early to say it's crap, or I think it's too early to say it's gold. But I tell you what, I'm starting to lean more and more and more to gold. And I like what they said here. Do not expect the front page of the site to change much. There's been some folks out there saying, man, the site looks like a 5-year-old could do it. But again, when you look at it from an advertising perspective, look at Facebook. It's not a drop dead sexy site on the front end. Look at Twitter. That's not a drop dead sexy site on the front. Look at YouTube. Look at Instagram. Look at any of those. They're very simple. Look at Google. All right, go to Google. What do you see? Look, very simple. All right. So it's easy for anyone to navigate, to get registered, and what have you. So look, it's working. Over 300,000 folks have already registered. So I like that they addressed that just a little bit. Okay. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been on the fence, you've not registered, go on and get registered. Now you might be seeing this at our webinar replay site, in which case, right underneath this video training, you can watch the webinar that we did on Tuesday, June the 28th. If you're seeing this on some other social media site, or someone emailed it to you, or what have you, and you want to make sure that you're getting on our webinars, you can go to THWGlobal.com. My disclaimer is I'm not corporate. Okay. I'm like you. I will be a viewer, and I will be building the network. Okay. That URL happened to be available, so I swiped it real quickly. Hopefully they don't tell me I can't use THW Global in any of my personal marketing or what have you. So, assuming that that's not the case, then we will keep THWGlobal.com. I just want you to know that I do not speak for corporate. I am not corporate. I am you. Okay, I'm one of you. All right, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you are at some type of social media site, or someone sent this to you via email or text or whatever, then go to THWGlobalWebinar.com. If you've already opted into our webinar series, then you're probably seeing this at our webinar replay page, in which case, go on and watch the replay of the webinar. We love each and every one of you. Let's change the world together, starting with yours. If it's gold, we're going to make a lot of green. We'll see you on our next webinar.